Welcome once again, everybody, to Blockbuster Mentality. I'm your host, Ben. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed to us on iTunes, Spotify, all that, and rate and review us. It takes 30 seconds. We'd really appreciate it. We've been climbing those charts, so please give us a rating. That, again, helps us out a lot. You guys have been doing great with that, so keep it up. Another fun show. Common saying at the beginning of every show, but come on. This is fun. We're having fun. And we are joined, me and Dave, by another Impractical Joker. James Murray, a.k.a. Murr from Impractical Jokers, joins us to, first of all, talk about his new book, The Stowaway, which sounds very intriguing. He describes the concept and the plot and everything in the show, so stay tuned for that. And we talk a little Impractical Jokers, and we decided, we were gonna talk National Treasure. That's the movie Murr picked, but it mainly just became a Nick Cage talk. So, we did cover National Treasure a little, but be a lot of tangents, which we always love. We always love the tangents to go on. Makes it more fun, more spontaneous. But it was still a lot of fun. A lot of great stories from Murr. A lot of laughs in this one, so I think you're gonna enjoy it. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast and Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality. That's where you'll get all the updates on the show. Also, blockbustermentality.com. If you go there and click where you want to listen to the episode, that helps us out too. Traffic on that website helps support the show. So can start using that, blockbustermentality.com. That's a, one-stop shop, I guess you could say. It's got our YouTube channel and Spotify links, Apple links, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find it. One more time, I'm going to plug it, blockbustermentality.com. Anyway, another great talk with an Impractical Joker. Got two more to go. We're coming for you, Sal and Joe. We did Q a few weeks ago. Now Murr and Sal and Joe, we're coming for you. But this is all about Murr today, the great Murr from Impractical Jokers. Here is our conversation.
Hello, guys.
Murr, what's up, man? Look at, I see you brought a friend.
I always bring a friend with me. Yeah.
That is glorious.
My
Look
guardian
at that.
angel of sorts.
Oh man. Man, that's like recent Cage too. So
that's new Cage. NC new Cage.
Oh man, that is great. Is that in your house? Sorry.
I'm sorry, dude. That's Nick Cage. Like, he's a buddy of ours. What are you talking about?
I refer to him as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is. I had a National Treasure themed birthday party this year.
Oh my goodness.
And Nick Cage made an appearance, and he stayed in the house ever since in cardboard form. So for listeners out there, yes, is this just audio too or video as well?
No, we'll post the video. We got to now.
So if you're just listening to the podcast, yes, I have a 6'2" cardboard cutout of Nicolas Cage behind me right now on video.
And it is glorious, and it's towering over him.
I know. So just keep it clean, gentlemen, because I got Nick here in the house.
Yeah, well, be sure to keep it clean with Nick around.
He will whisper something menacing if we say something wrong.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that is absolutely brilliant. How I see you've been married a year now. I saw your
I
year.
just celebrated my 1-year wedding anniversary, and this is how well my wife knows me. As I mentioned, she threw a surprise birthday party for me that was National Treasure themed. It had everything. We had all sorts of puzzles. She recreated the movie in different parts of our house and backyard, and there were all sorts of different puzzles from the movie, the glasses, things like that. And I had to solve all these riddles in order to get to the final clue, my actual birthday gift. And when I solved 4 or 5 puzzles throughout the house, the backyard, the final gift, I had to dig up, just like in the end of National Treasure, he goes into the tombstone, goes down below Trinity Church to find the prize. And when I finally dug out the prize from under the tombstone, It was a birthday card. When I opened it up, it was just one of those audio birthday cards. You open up, and there's a sound effect.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just my wife going, just making fart sounds. So the whole quest was for nothing.
Oh man, yeah, that's rough. That's
Married
rough.
well.
But yeah, you did marry very well. Congrats
Thank
on that. She obviously gets your humor. That's for sure.
She gets it. She gets why I live.
Oh man, that is great. Speaking of marriages, Dave really was curious about this one.
I missed it in the show. Yeah, so this is actually your second marriage, right, Murr?
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Very good. I like the very funny, gentlemen. Yes, my first marriage was to Sal's sister, although we never mailed the paperwork in, so it wasn't quite legal. But the marriage certificate was a legal document by the city clerk's office.
Okay. So you didn't have to put married on this current.
I did not. Although I got in trouble once years ago. I was seeing a girl, and we were dating for a few weeks, and she says she got all upset one night. I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "You're not being truthful to me." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "My mother looked you up." I said, "Okay." She goes, "You're married." I was like, "What?" She goes, "You're married to Sal's sister. Why didn't you tell me?" Like, she thinks I'm like being cagey. I was like, she thinks I'm being Nick Cagey.
Ah.
I said, I'm not. That was a joke on the TV show, and the internet says I'm married to Sal's sister. It's a joke.
I promise, it was just a prank my friends pulled on me. You know,
And never consummated?
No. Sal would have murdered me. I would be dead right now. He'd be having an interview with a corpse. He would have murdered me.
Now, is she someone you obviously went to high school with Sal and everything. So you guys say, anyways.
Yes.
Do you know his sister? Like, do you guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, our whole lives. She was a kid. I've known her as long as I've known Sal. Like a sister to us. There's no way. Although I'd be a damn good brother-in-law, I'll tell you that much.
I bet. Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just coughing.
Okay.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
So this has been
excited for a conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Before we get into the movie, obviously, we want to talk a little bit about what you got going on. I see you recently had a book released. Is that just released, right?
The Stowaway. It just came out a few days ago. We had the book launch last week. It is our fifth book. Tomorrow, I reveal the cover for our sixth book that comes out next March, and we have 8 altogether coming out. But The Stowaway is the brand new one. It is about a serial killer on a cruise ship. It's awesome, man. It's so good. The idea is this: it's about a woman named Maria Fontana who is a juror on the serial killer case of the century. This guy has been accused of ritualistically and horrifyingly murdering a number of innocent children. And she can't bring herself to find him guilty, so he goes free. 2 years later, she's on a transatlantic cruise with her fiance and her 2 twin kids. And halfway across the Atlantic, 3 days in any direction from land or from help, kids start disappearing on the boat in the same way they did on the trial 2 years earlier. And she's the only one with the knowledge of the case that could possibly stop the killer. Is it the killer on board? Is it a copycat? Or is it something far more mysterious going on? And she's the only one that can save the passengers before the killer strikes again. It's a
Fantastic.
Great page-turning read a la Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that does sound very intriguing. How long did it come up with, or did you right away know you wanted to have the setting of a cruise ship?
It was an unusual book, The Stowaway. Most books that we sell, my co-writer Darren or my co-writer Carson and I will come up with the idea. We'll spend 2-3 days kind of beating it out and what happens. We'll write it into a quick summary and we'll go into publishers to pitch it and they buy it. And then we have to write the damn thing.
Yeah.
Stowaway happened totally differently. Stowaway happened spontaneously over lunch. I said we took the editor out from St. Martin's Press and I said, tell me what you're interested in. What do you like? And he goes, I like crime stories, things like that. I was like, okay. He goes, I think there might be something on a cruise ship. I haven't seen any books like set on a cruise ship. So spontaneously over lunch, I said to him, I was like, what about a serial killer on a cruise ship with a juror that acquitted him trapped on board? And he's like, whoa, like it was just totally spontaneous. and he bought it at lunch over a 3-line verbal pitch. And then Darren and I took the subway back to my old apartment, and we're like, shit, now we got to come up with the damn story. What happens? It's easy to come up with a hook. Now you got to execute and write the damn thing. So that book was an unusual sales approach,
Yeah, definitely. Now with the only thing you said, you never heard of. Okay, I keep thinking Speed 2 cruise control for some reason. that's
we
the only...
modeled most of the Stowaway after Speed 2.
Yeah.
We took all the worst parts of Speed 2 and we made that into a novel.
Brilliant.
What would you guys have done had I chosen Speed 2 cruise control?
We would have went with it, pretended we were so glad you picked it, and
nodded approvingly, and it was the best idea ever.
Because, gentlemen, it's not too late, is all I'm saying. I happen to have who's the guy in Speed 2? What's his name?
Willem Dafoe's in it, I know, right? Isn't he the bad guy?
Who's the Keanu Reeves character?
Man.
Was it Jason Patrick or something like that?
Jason Patrick. Is it Jason Patrick?
I think it is.
Right? Jason Patrick. What if I happen to have off camera right now another Jason Patrick cardboard cutout? I'm just saying.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Fucking blown if I pulled that out right now.
He just pulls it with a string. And
Gentlemen, excuse me one moment. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Oh, that would be this would be our last podcast because
you have to go out on a high note.
Yeah.
It'll never be greater than that moment.
Exactly. So what's your writing style like? Having do you call each other co-writers? Like who's your writing partner?
So on the Awakened trilogy, which is a sci-fi thriller series that came out a few years ago and wrapped up last year, Darren Weirmouth is my co-writer. On Don't Move, which is it's around here somewhere. Let me find it.
Murr is standing up. He's not wearing pants. He is not.
He's got shorts. I saw a bit of thigh.
I am wearing pants.
Yes, he is wearing pants, just short pants.
Don't Move is a horror that came out last year, which is really, and this one's being turned into a movie. The screenplay is so good.
Right.
That's with Darren as well. The Stowaway is with Darren, and then we decided to venture into, and the Stowaway is mystery thriller. And then next year, 3 books come out with Penguin Random House called Area 51 Interns. It's a children's book series, middle grade. It's about a bunch of kids whose parents just so happen to work at Area 51, and the parents take their kids to work. Bring your kids to work day, and the day these kids that are about to go into high school go to Area 51, all hell breaks loose. All the adults get captured, and it's up to the kids to save the day. So at the end of book 1, the parents offer them a summer internship. And in every subsequent book, another crazy thing goes haywire in Area 51, and the kids have to solve the problem. So it could be the first book, of course, is about aliens because it's Area 51. Second book is about mythical creatures. So you've got Bigfoot, you've got the Chupacabra, everything like that. Third book is probably about time travel, anything and everything that could be Area 51.
That's awesome.
And that's with my employee and colleague, Carson Smith. And she's excellent at it too. So that's our first foray into that. But then later this year, Darren and I are pitching 2 more books. One is another serial killer novel, and the other is a novella that involves the multiverse.
Ooh, nice.
Now you mentioned your love of puzzles. And sort of you write mysteries, and you said how the kids have to solve problems. Was that your sort of way of thinking? Is that how you approach in your writing? Is that always kind of on your mind when you're crafting a story, that the problem solving and characters trying to figure everything out?
Yeah, I think so. I think our writing style is, our books read like an episode of the TV show 24, because my job long before Jokers, for a decade, I ran TV development for a company, the company that makes Jokers, right? So my job was to create and sell TV shows for a living. So in the span of a decade, I pitched probably 1,000 TV show ideas and wrote thousands of treatments for TV shows. And so our books read like TV show treatments, meaning that they are fast-paced, page-turning, cliffhanger kind of endings to chapters, very visual. You give them the sizzle, not the steak, so to speak. And the books read that way. They read like an episode of TV, And I forgot the question.
That's good enough.
Yeah. As long as you talk, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's what we're just looking for.
Filling time.
Another hypothetical. What if I got on the podcast right now and I sat here with Nick Cage over my shoulder, staring at the two of you, and never answered a single goddamn question?
I mean,
and it was like really uncomfortable. First, it's like quiet. You're like, okay, Murr, what do you? And I just go, just kind of grunt a little. And then another minute goes by. You kind of awkwardly laugh, and then eventually you have to end the podcast. It's just silence.
I mean, I think we would just start talking to each other, and then
Impractical Jokers, the guest podcaster.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a follow up on your rambling answer where you forgot the question. I
appreciate that. Thank you.
You pitched like 1,000 shows.
I remember your question. So yes, I got back to the question. Yes, we like writing.
I have another question.
We like writing smart characters that overcome obstacles and outthink the opponents. When I watch movies in particular, I freaking can't stand dumb decisions. You know what I mean? It drives me crazy. Like a lot of horror movies, you're like, why would they do that? No one would do that. You know? And so my favorite thrillers, horror movies in general, are the ones where the characters are just smart as shit, Yeah.
Something else I've noticed in movies, because I just saw the movie Old. It was the latest M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, I watched it too.
That really drives me nuts is when me as the viewer, the audience member, is way ahead of the characters. I'm like, I know what's happening here. What are you waiting with the camera for a reveal that the whole audience knows? Like, so just get to it.
I love M. Night Shyamalan. We're watching the TV show Servant right now. Did you guys see that?
No, I've been meaning to.
I missed it about 2 years ago when it came out. They have season 3 is coming out soon.
Oh wow!
But you've probably seen the trailer if you guys are movie guys. The premise is a woman has lost her child and has one of those very lifelike dolls.
Oh yeah,
that she's been sleeping with. The trailer hit big like 2 years ago. But of course, what happens at the end of episode 1? The child comes to life. The doll comes to life rather, and it's like So I like M. Night Shyamalan a lot. Old was frustrating to me for the same exact reason you're saying, though, which is we're 10 steps ahead of the characters. And so it's frustrating because you're watching each character catch up to what the audience already knows almost immediately. And in that sense, it backfires, Yeah. I felt the same frustration watching the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I mean, sometimes it's good for the audience to know something before the characters, but it has to be done right. Like, it has to build tension in a good way and not just like, what are you doing, you idiot? It's kind of...
That being said, when the guys and I were on tour for Jokers and we went to see the movie Split in theaters, we literally went from stage performing right into a car, right into the movie theater. Literally 7 minutes after we left stage, the audience is probably still clearing out of the theater, but we were already seated to watch Split at like 10:30 at night, right? And we're watching, love the movie, and then the end scene with Bruce Willis, literally the floor was like, what? The whole theater was like, no one got it, right? Because no one was, and like no one knew Unbreakable, what have you. We stood up, I was like, oh my God, he totally got me, man. I didn't realize it was the same universe as Unbreakable. I loved it.
Well, that I have always praised that as just them not marketing it that way. They marketed it as just an new M. Night Shyamalan movie. They never said anything about Unbreakable, and then for that to be the twist, like it was a twist for Unbreakable fans. It wasn't
great. It was brilliant, and I think the movie had premiered at South by Southwest maybe, and I've been following the reviews, and the audience from South by Southwest said, "You're not going to believe the end credits. It's unbelievable. We can't," and no one spoiled it.
Yeah,
from the week of premiere to when it came out in theaters, no one spoiled the surprise. I love it.
Yeah, especially nowadays, everything gets spoiled. So now, before we're going to obviously get into the movie, but before that, I mean, we got to ask. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little Impractical Jokers. What I know we asked Q this too, but like, what's your favorite sketch to do, or your favorite scenario? Is it the focus groups or the?
Q said the PowerPoint presentations. That's what he said.
I think there's a challenge where all 4 of us are in the same room trying to make each other laugh secretly. Those are always great. Yeah. If someone many years from now, if like my grandkids were to say, Grandpa Murr, what was Impractical Jokers? And when I'm rambling about how I used to be famous, and they're like, sure you were, Grandpa, right? as they're watching holograms on their Oculus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oculus 17 or whatever it is, right? So I think if they were to ask me what was the perfect moment of the TV show, I would tell them one scene in particular that I think is the epitome of the best of the show, right? There was a scene, a challenge where we're playing receptionists, which is always a home run because just all of our terms are so different. It's just really funny. And Joe was sitting on one of those posture bouncy balls, like you sit on at a desk, and he's sitting on it. And we said, Joe, go to sit on the ball and just fly off it, bounce and fly off it. And this woman's sitting in the room watching him do this. He sits, boom, flies, knocks an entire garbage can over. Out of the garbage can comes flying a half-eaten sandwich. And he takes the sandwich and starts eating it like nom, 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 nom. Q laughs so hard he starts throwing up in a bucket. The sound of Q throwing up makes Sal throw up because he's such a germaphobe. Meanwhile, I'm oblivious to the whole thing and I'm eating roast pork lo mein the whole time.
Right.
I think it's the perfect 30 seconds of the TV show ever.
It's not, folks, it's not Sopranos, it's not Breaking Bad, it's Impractical Jokers that has the greatest 30 seconds of television ever.
No, I'm saying the greatest 30 seconds of our television show. The second to last episode of Breaking Bad beats anything ever made.
Well, yeah, that is true. I'll yes. But now that
and the last episode of season 1 of The Good Place, when Ted Danson reveals that he's evil.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
Come on,
whoa.
The smile, the laughter. Oh,
yeah. It's like, what? Wait a minute. What just happened here? Yeah, definitely. Now, obviously, you got Nick Cage in the background there, as we already discussed. That you had a National Treasure birthday theme because you are 13 years old. But we usually ask, I mean, I obviously know now that it's one of your favorites and you have birthday themes of it, but why this movie? Why did you pick this movie? What is it about this movie?
I'm a sucker for history. I'm a sucker for conspiracy theories. I'm a huge conspiracy theory buff. I watch 10 videos a day on it and know every conspiracy. So we have a conspiracy board game. Do you guys know what this game is? Conspiracy, the game, it's called.
No.
The company sent me an expansion pack because I think I tweeted about it or something. It's no fair playing with me because I know every goddamn answer. You know? Right. So my wife got it for me a year ago for Christmas, and I crushed everyone at it. I know every conspiracy out there that's ever been made. I'm a sucker for ancient aliens on TV. So when it comes, and by the way, going back in time to high school, so the guys and I were all in the same music class, right? And it was taught by Mr. Christensen, who is a massive conspiracy freak, right? And he would spend the entirety of our music theory class not talking about music. He would instead, we as we're all boys Catholic high school, we would bait him and he would talk about conspiracies, and then that he would go on a rant about the all-seeing eye and about if you play records backward, you hear the devil. If you play the Eagles backward, and the real meaning of Hotel California and the secret symbols on the dollar bill and how it's the Illuminati. Right. He would just go off, and suddenly you'd have an hour-long music class that you didn't speak about music at all. You didn't learn a single thing about music because all he did was talk about the Illuminati for an hour.
Ask him about the moon landing or whatever.
So I think it was instilled in me in an early age. This kind of love for conspiracy theories, and I'm a massive conspiracy theory buff. So you can see how National Treasure combines a lot of things I love. Nicolas Cage, who's my favorite actor of all time.
Oh, okay.
Conspiracy theories, specifically American history conspiracy theories. Yeah. Mixed with, John Voight. Come on, can't beat John Voight. Man,
and we got Christopher Plummer in the beginning too.
I love that it's more polished than Indiana Jones, right? It's less dirty, right? Indiana Jones is overall a better movie, of course, but we're not here to talk about Indiana Jones. We all love Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I will tell you, in my house, I do have the Ark of the Covenant as well.
Okay,
the actual one from
we built a 2-scale replica size Ark of the Covenant. It's in my house.
Somewhere in his house.
Waterproof. I don't know why, but it is. So you can bathe in it if you wanted to fill it with water. Anyways, so we're not here to talk about
right.
Ark. That's already a great movie, but that is a bit grittier National Treasure is certainly more Disney-fied.
Yeah.
But I like that. Sometimes it's a great popcorn movie. You can't go wrong. It's hokey and funny and charming, and I love
the Grail.
There's the Holy Grail right there.
I got the Holy Grail right here.
The Carpenter.
Yes, exactly. That is the cup. That's not. It's
Very
not the
good.
gorgeous one. I actually got this on Amazon, and it came like red with like gold dots on it. So I actually painted it myself. So there you go.
I got all sorts of stuff around too. Just to show you, this is the cryptics from Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice.
Like you, of course. I've got a DeLoreans all over the house. I've got a Ghostbuster proton pack here. This is the coolest. This you can't get. I know a guy that makes them. Do you guys remember the movie from the 80s, Krull?
No, I do. That looks very familiar.
Yes, you remember Krull. Other than a lightsaber, the greatest movie weapon of all time.
Wow, look at that.
Krull.
Is it?
Exactly exact replica. They don't make them anymore. I know a guy in Canada does it. Anyways, it's not legal at all. I send them out and give them regularly to people. But this is you recognize the weapon though, Crow, right? This is a famous one.
Yeah, definitely. I got a movie prop guy. I got a guy. Now you're a conspiracy theory buff. Now, are you one to buy into conspiracy theories? Are you?
No, I like watching from a distance. I'm not about to storm the Capitol.
Yeah, no,
or anything like that. I just like I just love that stuff. Also, I'm a huge. Hey, these are my puppies here, everybody. Hello, Papa, baby girl.
Hey, puppy.
Yeah, I'll show you. This Papa, for those watching this on video, is
Look at that.
There's Papa. So no, I just love conspiracy. I love movies like that too, and I'm a huge science buff too. So those two sometimes go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too. Is the history element. I conspiracy theories too. I think there's an element of truth in some conspiracy theories. There's probably some secret society that does something, whether it's exactly what you'll read on Twitter or something, probably not. But I think the ancient alien stuff too, that draws me in. I believe in Bigfoot. Or at least I want to believe in Bigfoot.
Speaking of which, have you guys watched the movie Bigfoot? It came out maybe 6 months ago on streaming.
Yeah. So I started watching that and then I stopped because it didn't seem like it was about Bigfoot at all. But other than a journalist going, do I need to finish the movie? You
do not, in fact, need to keep finishing that movie. No, I'm here to tell you, you're done watching it. I've just saved you another half hour of your life. I've given it back to the podcast right now.
That was total bait and switch, right?
It does not end good. Although there's a very funny, I think decapitation scene, or maybe his army pulls off at the end. Bigfoot really? Finally comes in at the very end, but it's not good, man. It's not a good movie.
I was so mad at it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know anything about it, so you guys talk away. I don't want to say anymore. But you, like you said, Dave, Christopher Plummer's in this. You got John Voight. You got Diane Kruger, the guy from The Hangover, Doug from The Hangover.
Yeah. He's great, man. Riley. He plays Riley Poole, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, it's a history movie. It's a conspiracy movie. So now, I've only seen it. I think this is my second watch of this. I watched it again for the show. So was his family part of the Freemasons? Is that what they were saying?
It comes from Freemason lore, of course. Yeah. I'll tell you my favorite moments in National Treasure. Gosh, there's so many. I love in only the way the 90s could do this, but pre-internet. But I love how they source how to break into how to steal the Declaration of Independence. By the way, have you watched the entire series, the entire sketch on Saturday Night Live? They've done it like 10 times. Andy Samberg plays Nick Cage.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yes.
Oh, not in this movie, you know.
Yep.
And it's funny, and eventually it comes full circle. And Andy Samberg, dressed as Nick Cage, interviews the real Nick Cage on Saturday Night Live in Weekend Update.
Yep,
Cage on Cage, or whatever the bit is called. Man, it's funny. It's great. But yeah, I love like the optimism and '90s. You know, only the '90s could pull this off. The idea that two regular folks could somehow think their way into stealing the Declaration of Independence, right? And it works, man. You go back and watch it with the freaking laser pointer and you know, the temperature readings, and he gets the fingerprint off the glass in a very elegant way.
right.
You know, it's just so smart. Unscrews it, he stops the bullets with the glass because it's bulletproof. Meanwhile, the other guy's trying to barrel down everything. It's brains versus brawn, you know?
Right.
Like, I love how optimistic that is, you know?
Yeah.
And I freaking love that. I also used to live, when we started Jokers, Joe Gaddon and I were roommates on Wall Street. We used to live on the corner of Wall and Broadway, you know, right,
okay.
right there where the stock exchange is, right on the other corner from where Trinity Church is, and the whole Freemason treasure is down there. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to sneak into Trinity Church, you know, bust through a tombstone. See what I find. Because you know, when you live in New York City too. Where do you guys live?
We're in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Tampa doesn't have as many layers because you just hit swampland if you go right?
It's just water. Yeah.
New York City, you can dig down. Obviously, the city there's 100 layers below the surface of the streets, right? And it's very complicated. Anytime you see them dig into an intersection, it goes down 50, 60 feet, and it's layer after layer after layer of, and that's before you even get to the subway tunnels, right?
Right.
Just, you know, gas, electric, sewer, but, you know, it's just layer after layer, so complicated, the crisscrossing cables, because the city is so old. And then that's before you even get to the subway tunnels that are layer and layer and layer. You know, most of the city is underground, you know. It is, it stands to reason that underneath, you know, Trinity Church, why wouldn't there be a Freemason treasure? Of course there is. That's where I would put it.
He denies that he believes in any of these things, and yet that's where his mind keeps going. So
yeah,
it's good stuff, man. They misdirect John. What's his name? The bad guy.
Sean Bean. Yeah.
You know, meanwhile, the real you know, and what I love about the movie, don't think of the movie now. Think of the movie when you first saw it. What year did it come out? 1990 what?
No, it was actually 2004.
Was it?
Yeah, it's early 2000s. Damn. It's basically 90s.
Yeah, they have 95 on it for So okay, so it's got that 90s, early 2000s optimism for Disney. You know, like we can do anything. America's still great, kind of thing. You know.
Yeah.
But what I love is the reversal at the end, where you think because it's so easy to do that shit in movies, where even though they don't find the treasure, it's about, you know, the treasure within they found, you know,
exactly.
The relationships they form, they still believe in it, will keep looking. You could see the movie ending there.
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, they could have taught a lesson that, okay, you know, we accomplished something. Yeah.
To compare to Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Raiders of the Lost Ark, they find the Ark of the Covenant and it disappears. And it's in a great iconic ending, was this giant warehouse of government secrets and world secrets, and the warehouse is bigger than like a super Walmart. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And it's satisfying and frustrating at the same time. The end of the movie, right? And National Treasure doesn't go there, man. It gives you the ending you want. You think it's going to end in that shitty way, and you're like, okay, so now take yourself back to 2004 when you first saw the movie. You're like, all right, they didn't find it, but it's kind of cool. The whole journey was cool. And then there's another cool clue.
Right.
You see everything. It's great.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, you know, I get why they're ending it this way, but this is one of those movies where I want them to find the treasure. So like, where is it? Like, because you're like Nicolas Cage in this movie, the audience is like, you're wanting to believe there's something out there. You got your dad telling you that it's not there. It's just clue after clue after clue. But yeah, when that moment hits, when you see like the shape of the ship thing, the Charlotte, and you know, you're like, oh, okay, all right, and then he finds it.
Great, man. Like, think of every other movie you know. I bet you lots of movies like this don't give you that ending. Think of Da Vinci Code. We were talking about that before,
right? Yeah.
Right? You want them to find the Holy Grail. He figures it out at the end. he's sitting on top of the Louvre, right? The and the Holy Grail is underneath, and he can't get to it. And you never get the moment where he actually discovers the Holy Grail.
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't actually do it. They get to the whatever the chapel is, whatever, and then the whoever comes in, the Illuminati, whoever, and you never get it. You never get the satisfying ending. It's always alluded to, and they don't figure it out, or they don't get to the final stage. So many movies do that to you.
Yeah. It's satisfying on two levels, right? Because underneath it all is trying to prove that we don't come from a line of crazy people who've been passing along this one phrase in search for something that doesn't exist. So at least you can we weren't nuts. It was actually real. Our great grandparents.
That's another great thing about the movie. Like, it starts with a kid in an attic, right? Looking through his grandfather's old stuff. And this kind of legend has been passed down from generation to generation of the family. I think that's a super universal. What a smart way to begin a movie. I think it's a super universal feeling, right? Yep. So I remember as a kid going to my parents' basement and looking through my grandparents' stuff that was now in their basement, right? And just like my parents' stuff is in my basement now, and notebooks and writings from my father, and we found love letters and things like from my grandmother to my grandfather and stuff, and it's almost like you reach a certain age where, when you're young, that stuff doesn't matter, right? And you reach a certain age where suddenly that stuff is interesting again, and it's like a moment in time. And I love that stuff. I love that we've all been through that. You all reach a stage where suddenly your parents or grandparents who you loved but never were interesting to you, you want to learn about that stuff, And you always wonder, like, what are the secrets that your family has? Like we do that all the time. So I'll show you an example. 1 second. Yeah. Well, where is it? Hold on.
It'd be funny if he just walks out and doesn't come back. He's just gone forever.
I don't know where it is right now. It's somewhere in the room. But so I love burying stuff.
Okay.
What do you have buried? What's buried?
What does that mean?
So I bury stuff for future generations to find all the time.
Do you put
I get on Amazon, I get little treasure chests. They're around, right? I get a little treasure chest and I go to some place and I bury it.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean that's right?
Yeah, right. Like, so around my property, there's like and then what we do is I'll usually for 4th of July, I have like 20, 30 metal detectors, and I give them out to the kids, and I say, anything you find, you keep. And every treasure chest has money in it. But we can never keep track of where they are. So there's undoubtedly lots of them still buried with $20 bills in them. But we go out to the public too, and I just bury a hole and stick something in there for a future generation to find. What I was actually looking for was time capsules around somewhere. But I think it's an awesome tradition too. I love burying time capsules. Right.
Well, that's my son has one in the backyard, and maybe 4 years ago now. So like, we kind of want to bury it up, dig it up, but it's like, no, let's wait a little longer, because the longer time goes on and you find it, it's like, okay, this is even more special, know.
The other thing, not to get too off the topic, I don't know how structured this is, guys.
No, we're tangent. Welcome.
Okay.
Go on tangents, please.
Leaving random things on people's property without them knowing.
Example, please.
I'll give you an example. So we've been doing this joke for like 3 months, and we finally got busted about a week ago. But it went on for 3 months, so I'm just freaking a neighbor out. So a neighbor down the block from us has the older couple, lovely folks, and they do their own gardening and landscaping, and they built this kind of like little garden of rocks. They built 2 little gardens of rocks, right? Like a little rock wall, almost like a little teeny Stonehenge, if you will. And it was really lovely. And so I ordered a male gnome on Amazon, and we snuck it into one of the gardens and took a picture of it. It just appeared one day, right? We waited about a week or two. Like 2 weeks later, I ordered a female gnome, put her in the other garden, not facing each other, just looking out. We took a picture of it too. Then we waited a few more weeks, and then we turned the gnomes toward each other because they finally noticed each other and got attracted. Then a week later, we moved the female gnome next to the male gnome because they moved in together. Another week goes by, I ordered a little baby gnome, and I put it there because now they had a child, right? Then we ordered a Corvette gnome, a Corvette car.
They have that? Okay.
We split the couple up because they're going through a divorce, and the husband's going through a midlife crisis, and he bought a Corvette, right? And then we bought a better-looking male gnome to move in with the female gnome. That's the divorced female gnome. And now, week after week, we'd have the baby going from one garden to the other so they have joint custody of the child.
Oh my God. Oh.
We did it for like 2 months straight. Moving this baby back and forth. Meanwhile, the wife has got this better looking gnome that she's shacking up with. The husband bought a Corvette because now he's going through a life crisis. I thought it was hysterical. Finally, a week ago, we're walking down the block and the guy is out there gardening. And we're walking by with the dog. And I was like, shoot, we better keep a straight face. We struck up a conversation with the guy. And he says, hey, guys, I have a question for you. And I was like, shit, we're about to get busted. And he goes, you guys have any idea where these gnomes keep coming from? He said, I thought it was your neighbor. I thought it was my neighbor. He said, I talked to him. It wasn't him. And my family has been like, we've sent 100 emails about this. Anytime they come over for dinner, we're trying to figure out. We can't figure out who keeps leaving these gnomes and moving around. And I said, well, do you have any suspects? And he goes, yeah, you. I was like, me. I forgot that years ago, the guys and I on Jokers did a Travelocity commercial, and they had us using the Travelocity gnome, right?
Yeah.
So I typed in on Google James Murray gnome to see if I might have any connections to gnomes.
You're a very known gnome guy, right?
This Travelocity commercial from 6 years ago came up, and he knew it was me. I said, look, I hope you don't take offense. We're just having a lot of fun with this fake storyline we created about these, this fake relationship. They thought it was hysterical.
Oh my goodness! But yeah, that had to be so confusing. Coming out. I wonder if they were thinking of that story too. Like
they
thinking
have to, because I think the storyline tracks. Yeah, I'm an author. You know what I'm saying? Like I know how to tell a good story. This couple started out with love, a child. Midlife hits, the 7-year itch, what have you. He gets a Corvette. She moves out, finds a better looking gnome. It's boy meets girl.
Yeah, tale as old as time. Tale as old as time.
Have you done anything like that to your co-hosts? Any kind of long game? Can you share any of those stories?
We the best long con was there's an episode of Jokers where we told Sal to jump up on a federal statue and grab the statue's nose, right? He like the old, I got your nose, bitch, kind of thing.
Yeah.
In reality, about 2 weeks after we filmed that, we got a letter in the office from Homeland Security asking us to explain ourselves because that was a federal monument. You can't do that, right? And we actually broke the law doing it. So Sal sees his letter. He's like, holy shit, this is crazy. He unbeknownst to him, we sent a response back in from the TV show, explained what was going on, blah, blah, no harm, no foul. They dismissed the case, no problem. They didn't fine us or anything like that. We did not tell him that. What we did was we took the Homeland Security letter, and every month we would send another letter from Homeland Security coming to the office, still asking for more details, footage, and so forth. And it went on for a year, and the letters got more and more threatening from Homeland Security, and it ultimately led to him and the showrunner for Jokers getting called in to a deposition at Homeland Security. And we actually had a government office we were able to find, and they let us use it. And so he got called in his spare time. He wasn't filming, not knowing he's on the TV show. And this woman is federal government agent, who's a real SOB, and she just grilled Sal on it and threatened to shut down the TV show. And sure enough, about 2 weeks later, they passed their judgment on the show. And Homeland Security comes to the set to shut us down and to take Sal into custody. All for this thing that happened a year earlier, and it was all a long con prank on the show. It was my favorite one.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that is.
I just picture Sal's face.
It was great. It was a great.
So none of that was on camera.
It was all on camera. The letter would come in, but he didn't know it was being filmed for the TV show.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Homeland Security deposition, he didn't realize there was hidden cameras in the room. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man, I can't get past that now. Now, so National Treasure. No, actually, again, we're tangents galore here. So, Illuminati, you being in the biz now, how can you debunk the Illuminati?
Look, I can neither confirm nor deny being a member of the Illuminati myself.
Right.
First rule of Fight Club, right?
First rule of Fight Club: there's no Illuminati.
Exactly.
Gosh, here's the problem. Well, first of all, we're not nearly famous enough or rich enough to be in the Illuminati. Hopefully, one day, Illuminati, if you are listening, fax me. Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk, baby.
I do have the Illuminati only fax number set up in my house. I'm hoping they keep it on 24/7, hoping the call comes in. I just want to go to the parties, really. I've heard the parties are great. Lots of blindfolds,
Eyes wide shut stuff.
Yeah, lots of blindfolds and just touching,
Just, okay. Just touching.
I just want the touching.
A lot of other senses. I don't know. I'm just eager to find out I just want to be in the club, so to speak. But I think Illuminati is, don't call us, we'll call you kind of thing. Here's the problem.
Hold on. So now we know Murr wants to be blindfolded and do the touching. That's kind of where you are. That's your preference is.
Somebody could just blindfold me and make me feel around a room and say it's part of the Illuminati. And be like, I believe it. I'm a sucker for conspiracies. I believe it. Right. I do think that there's a fair amount of truth to stuff like this. I do think that there are power brokers in the world that operate at a level that we will never understand or realize, for sure. That being said, the government still can't pave the BQE, which is the highway in New York City. I don't know. They can't.
Right, yeah.
Why can't they still not repair an elevated highway, if they're all powerful and so on and so forth. That being said, I was a sucker for X-Files. Were you guys X-Files fans?
Yeah, love X-Files.
Man, there's X-Files really dives into that stuff really well. Like when you go back and watch it, if you watch it in tandem with Ancient Aliens, what a great night with wine, It really is.
It's a nice relaxing evening.
Great fun.
What's your I assume this is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie. If not, other than this, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Man, we go on Nick Cage. Gosh, I have so many. Have you seen Pig, the new one that just came out?
No, I have it in my queue. I've not watched it yet.
Really good. It's very understated. There's one scene. The movie may not be for everybody. It's slow burn.
Right.
But it's just interesting and different, and he's an interesting character in it. But there's one scene, maybe 2/3 through, of him. I'm not giving anything away. Him with the head chef of a restaurant sitting down in that restaurant. It's like a 2-minute scene, and it's a masterclass in acting. He dismantles the chef with very few words. It's great. It really is a fantastic scene. You have to watch it just for that scene.
Yeah. That
was really good. An absolutely bonkers movie came out during quarantine. Willy's Wonderland. Did you see it?
I haven't. I've heard good things about that one.
You got to watch it. A friend of ours made it. And you got to watch it because you get a few minutes in the movie, you're like, okay, this is fun, different, quirky. And then like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the movie, you're like, they're not about to do what I think they're going to do. A half hour into the movie, you're like, they're not doing this. Are they actually doing this? And by the end of the movie, you're like, holy shit, they did it.
Oh, man.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Okay. Trust me, you'll know in the first 10 minutes, you're like, okay. Then 20 minutes, and you're like, wait a second. And half hour, you're like, are they going to do this? And then they do it, and you're like, "Fuck, this is great."
So I don't have to ask myself, will they do it? Because I know they're going to do it now.
You get what you want. You get exactly what you want by the end.
I love that.
I mean, gosh, the heyday, The Rock holds up, man.
Love that movie.
Yeah,
holds up. We watched it again maybe 6 months ago. Holds up.
Yeah, and you get Sean Connery mixed in with Nick Cage. Are you kidding me?
And Ed Harris too.
Yeah, that's right. Ed Harris, yeah.
Best, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And what's his name from Terminator? Reese. What's his name in real life? Michael Biehn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Michael Biehn. Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, so you got...
What a great cast. Holds up to this day. Probably because Sean Connery's so good, so it offsets Nick Cage's manicness, it really does.
Yeah.
And it takes itself seriously. That's the great thing about the movie,
I have a soft spot for The Family Man. I for some reason that's not like your action Nick Cage movie, but I love that movie. That is just, to me, just a brilliant, kind of time travel kind of movie. Yeah. Time warping, I guess you could say.
One that I go back to, and I wish I loved it more because I love the idea of it so much, is Is it? I think it's called Knowing.
Yes, I was gonna bring this one up.
Did I get the name right?
Yeah, Knowing.
Man, what a great idea, right? It's about this guy that is starting to. Oh my God! It starts the same way. Nick Cage digs up the school that his kid goes to. They dig up their time capsules from like 50 years earlier, right? And in the time capsules, like the scribblings of a child that has been institutionalized or 20 years earlier, or whatever. And it's just a series of numbers and codes. And Nick Cage, who's a scientist, or astronomer, mathematician, whatever, sees a pattern in the codes, right? When Knowing came out, it was a bunch of movies like that came out. Jim Carrey did a movie called 27.
Number
23. 23 was it? 27.
No, yeah, 23. Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
So a bunch of movies came out around the same time with people that can decipher codes, right? And so Nick Cage sees this cipher, if you will, this code in the scribblings from a kid that they thought was insane from 25 or 30 years earlier, or 50 years earlier from a time capsule. And it turns out that the kid has predicted in the code every major trauma on Earth, every major accident. 9/11, the kid predicted, and the exact number of deaths, plane crashes, and the exact number of deaths. And he sees that, the kid is predicting something cataclysmic at the end. I love that shit, man. What a great movie.
I think that's a very underrated movie, and I would highly recommend everyone to go out and watch Knowing. It's really good. The score is good. The acting is good.
It goes a totally different way than I thought at the end, right?
Yeah.
You think it's just going to end with the end of the world kind of, cataclysmic, apocalyptic kind of thing, and it goes into like an alien thing at the end, which is totally out of left field. It's super cool. And that is underrated. My favorite, if I had to choose, other than National Treasure, Nick Cage movie, this should have been a podcast just about Nick Cage, basically.
I know. It can be at this point.
I just want to tell you guys, before we end, to a funny Nick Cage story, the one and only time I've met him. I'll tell you about that in a second. But Con Air, man.
Oh, yeah. I was about to ask about Con Air.
Con Air is underrated, too. What a great movie.
I think that might be him at his most badass. Like, that is just him just totally just owning his character and just totally being a badass.
It's wild. It's, the iconic line from it is, why did you put the bunny back in the box?
Yeah. Put it back in the box.
Only in a line only he could deliver. I will tell you, I know we only have like 10 minutes, but I do want to share the one and only time we've ever met Nick Cage. So, years ago, the guys and I were filming Impractical Jokers. We were filming at the world-famous Carnegie Deli in New York City, right? I think it was the episode where Joey Fatone was on.
Okay.
My name's Joey Fatone, and I just shit my pants. He announces to the crowd at Carnegie Deli. Anyways, we're there at the end of the day. We finished filming at Carnegie Deli. We've got to run downtown to go film another bit. And Nicolas Cage is eating alone in Carnegie Deli. Just eating a pastrami sandwich. And I freak out. I was like, holy shit, it's Nick Cage. National Treasure, my favorite movie, Con Air, Face Off. I freak out. My face turns beet red, right? Go, Sal, Q, they're like, you have to go say something. Yep. So we're awkwardly doing the walk by his table to see if he recognizes us. Nothing. Not a single shred of recognition on his face. I was like, shit, he doesn't know the show. And people coming up to him, and I was like, it happens to us too. It was like, the guy's sitting there alone. He just wants to eat pastrami on rye.
Right. I'm
not going to be that guy. I'm going to let him do his thing, right? So we don't go up to him. Anyways, we pack up. We go to leave the restaurant. We're waiting outside to catch a cab downtown to go film the second bit. Nick Cage comes walking out of Carnegie Deli a minute later. The crowd sees him and starts forming around him. Fans are taking photos with us, but nothing like Nick Cage. Nick is freaking Cage, right? And they immediately go from taking pictures of us to taking pictures with Nick Cage, right? Overwhelmed by fans. You can tell he's kind of flustered. He didn't expect to walk out into a crowd of people because the crowd was already there taking pictures with us, right? Still no recognition on his face as to who the fuck we are, right? So Joe hails the cab for us, and Nick Cage is getting swarmed by people. So Joe, seeing the opportunity, says, Nick, come on, go. You want to get in the cab? Come on, jump in the cab. he's going to give his cab over to Nick Cage. So Nick Cage jumps in the cab and says, "Thank you so much." Keep in mind, Joe is still wearing the Carnegie Jelly T-shirt. Waiter, right? Yeah. Nick Cage thinks he's a valet for Carnegie Deli. He reaches into his wallet. It's a scorpion wallet. Scorpion clip, a money clip, takes out $20 and tips Joe $20 for getting the the valet for Carnegie Deli. Joe looks at the three of us. I say to Joe, you keep the goddamn $20 bill. Joe takes the bill, slams the car door shut, slaps on the side of the taxi, and the car speeds away. To this day, we have a $20 bill tipped to us by Nicolas Cage, not realizing that we're on Impractical Jokers.
That is really unreal. What did that air?
No, we were just waiting outside for a cab.
Okay.
Yeah. It was real life. It just real life.
It was real, bro.
But we have a picture of it. My iPhone is updating to new blah, blah, blah. If you search, maybe you guys can post a picture of this, type in Salvo Count and Nicolas Cage. The photo has been made public. It's him and me and Nick Cage in a photo, and Nick Cage looks shell-shocked. Great photo.
I'm Googling it now. Waste. I have to. I don't know what. Let's see. There it is.
There it is.
Whoa, I love how he's got the beard and everything.
I don't have my iPad on me.
His hair is. It looks like he's almost photoshopped.
Oh, that's great.
You can see how Nick Cage did not look thrilled to meet him.
Look at Sal. Sal's so earnest and happy.
So while I am a huge fan of Nick Cage, I don't think the feeling's mutual, unfortunately.
Well, maybe someday.
One day I hope to make a better impression.
All the Impractical Jokers I saw were on HBO Max, so maybe he'll be scrolling one day and see it there, and
I hope so. I like to think that I exist in a world where Nick Cage knows I exist.
Yeah.
He'd be like, it's good to see that valet made something of himself.
What's one thing? What's your biggest pet peeve of someone coming up to you? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're a nice guy and everything, but is there a point where you're like, why are you coming up to me now? Like, what?
No, I'm really good with that stuff. And gosh, you have to remember, guys, like we didn't get Impractical Jokers till we're 35 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we failed for our entire lives. It took forever. It took 11 years to get on TV, So like for me, it was always a dream from high school. So like when fans come up, I think of it as, I don't get annoyed by it at all. I think it's a blessing. Like, I'm like, I wanted that my whole life.
Right. Yeah.
Create something good, that actually was fun and good and people liked. Like, so much of like what life is failure and rejection. And, it's just, you never feel like you're good enough to come up with a good product or something that will hit. And it's just like, when you finally get it, I'm like, I think it's awesome. We've had some weird experiences, fans. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'll give you an example. So the weirdest encounter I ever had was years ago. I go to see a Giants game, and I'm at the stadium. It's halftime, and I go to use the men's room. And in Giants Stadium in New York City, New Jersey, actually, in Giants Stadium, in the men's rooms, there's like 30 urinals in a row. There's no divider between the urinals, and you're literally shoulder to shoulder with dudes. It's so uncomfortable as a guy. You know what it's like, right?
Yes.
Almost as bad as the trough.
There's a line of like 10 guys behind you waiting for you to finish, like 6 inches behind you, right? And the guy at the urinal, he's literally shoulder to shoulder, looks over at me, recognizes me. I was like, dude, stop looking at me. I think, he recognizes me, and he goes in, leans in close and whispers. He goes, "Am I on TV right now?" He has his feet on TV right now, as if we're filming a challenge in a men's room at a Giants game. I said, dude, no. Your genitalia is safe. We are not filming in a men's room at Giants Stadium.
Yeah, maybe he was just doing a circumcision check.
Yeah.
You probably should have said.
Be allowed to film in a bathroom anyway. So we have weird encounters like that. The other weird thing is like, people always think we're together. Like, I do have a life outside of it. Like, one was my wife and I got married a year ago, and we went on our honeymoon. My whole life I dreamed of going to one place on my honeymoon. There's a specific resort too. It wasn't even a location; it was a specific place. I'd seen pictures of it for a decade. long before Jokers, I never thought I'd have the means to go. It's literally halfway around the world. It's in the Maldives. It's a specific resort there. It's one of those places you've seen pictures of it, right? They have those over the water bungalows.
Oh, right, yeah.
Going down into the ocean. Like I never thought I'd have the ability to go. I never thought I'd find love and I'd be able to go, because you're not going to go there alone. Sit there in the middle of the Indian Ocean in this resort, like what the hell am I doing? All I'm doing is reading a copy of the Stowaway.
Right.
What do I do, right? So I never thought I'd get married, find love, and or have the means to go, and I did last year. And so we fly. It's literally 3 flights to get there. You fly to Dubai, then you take a smaller plane to the Maldives, and then you take a seaplane like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I hate snakes, Jack. One of those kind of planes. Literally,
scary.
The pilot had no shoes on. No. I can reach up and touch the pilot's bare feet. Right.
Oh wow.
So, anyways. So you take this little teeny prop plane, a seaplane, to the specific island you're going to. And we're literally, man, we've been traveling for like 22 hours to get there. 3 flights. You're drenched in sweat by the time you get there. There's no air conditioning on the last flight. Yeah. And you get there, and I get this little teeny island with like a total of like 20 people on it. And this fan happens to recognize me. So please, one of the staff. And I'm clearly on my honeymoon, and the guy says, "Where's Joe, Sal, and Q?" 22 hours around the world,
all right,
with me on my honeymoon. The most romantic place in the world. I'm there with my newlywed wife. Clearly, we're on our honeymoon, and the guy's like, "Where are the guys?" Yes.
Yeah, let's take a guy's trip to this romantic place. Let's
obviously
just hang out,
together.
Guys.
I mean, it's not complete if it's just one of you.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. People are silly. They are silly, but yeah, that's great. I love that you have that perspective. Like you said, you got the show when you were 35, so you have the perspective of being trying to make it.
You already talked to Q. I listened to that podcast too. It was great, by the way. And you guys know, we were regular guys long before this, and
right, yeah,
and had regular jobs and had regular lives, and just got very, very fortunate. And have what we had have as as long as we had it.
Definitely
fantastic. And I love that. I just because I think and Q was we were trying to Q was very humble, and I think you kind of have the same sense. And it's great. I mean, look, Jay, and I'll take a page from that episode. I said, "You are big, James. You flew halfway around the world, and the most random person ever knew who you were. So it's okay to take a bow a little bit, but it's great that you have that.
We're not that kind of guys. We are. The good thing about being in a TV show with my best friends is several things. One is none of us have to go through this alone, which is great. And the other thing is that we keep each other grounded at all times. You know what I mean? Because there's 3 guys that at moment's notice are looking to call me an asshole. Looking. The first time I wrote a book, they're like, "What the fuck are you?" You know what I mean? Like, you're real, man. Like, you can never your ego can never be too involved. You're surrounded by Sal, Joe, and Q. Forget it.
Be destroyed quickly.
Destroyed. Yeah. I can't even pick up a hobby. If I pick up a hobby, they torture me over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The day I started, because of Joe, he started getting his eyebrows threaded. So I was like, I got big, bushy Italian eyebrows. I started getting threaded. And then they immediately, when they found out I get my eyebrows threaded, they freaking torture me over it, right? They beat my eyebrows off.
Oh my god! You don't have to worry about what the public thinks. You have to worry about what these guys are gonna tease you about, not what Twitter's gonna go after you about or anything.
Any new shirt, you're gonna go play golf, like any new thing, they're gonna rib you on it.
anything and everything. So we each other very hyper real.
I love it.
But obviously, we respect your time. So don't want to keep you much longer. Is there anything else you wanted to plug or anything?
Gosh, I hope we dove into a little bit of National Treasure.
I know.
I mean, we were all over the place, but that's what this hour is. Seriously, pick it up, watch it. It's a great movie. The Stowaway is out in stores right now. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, get a copy. It is a great action-packed thriller. You will not be able to put it down once you start reading it, and you won't be able to guess who the killer is until the very end. If you'd like an autographed copy of The Stowaway, go to meetmurr.com, M-E-E-T, meetmurr.com, and it will send you a copy from my living room to your living room. There you go.
Boom. There you go. I mean, is there any other thoughts on National Treasure you wanted to mention? I know, again,
Fingers crossed, number 3 will come out. It's been in various stages of development, but let's keep our fingers crossed because, gosh, this is meant to be a trilogy, isn't it? I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
a great comeback for Nick Cage. I know he needs the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Murr, you can give him that $20. I think, Yeah. Return the favor and give him that $20.
Yeah. That. Oh man, if you got full circle that way, able to give him a tip. Yeah. well, Murr, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Murr from Impractical Jokers. Make sure you check out his book. Check out Impractical Jokers. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. Hope you had a lot of fun listening. But all right, again, follow us on Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality and Twitter at BlockbusterCast. Rate, review us on iTunes, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. All right, folks. Well, that is it for me, for Dave and Murr. I'm Ben. And as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys at the movies.